reservations. So they'll have to sign up. And so therefore we haven't gotten those scheduled quite yet. So I don't know if they're going to be full, but we're sure hoping.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
On those classes, do you, when you fill up, do you wait list people? Or,
Yes.
And the other side question is, if they're that consistently in demand, is there plans beyond the current classes to maybe bring this back or extend it, do you think?
That's a fabulous question, and I think my answer to that is I don't know yet, because I know that our staff doesn't have time for this. With this grant, we're able to pay Lynn to do these classes, because it takes not only time to do the curriculum, but to make sure the computer's all ready, to drive to all the places if it's not here in Marysville. Through the grant, we're paying her to do all of that. Past that, if she's willing to volunteer, then we're willing to continue them, even if it's here in Marysville, which I think maybe she might be, but I can't speak to that right now. This is all just an experiment. We haven't done something like this before, and so we're kind of learning in leaps and bounds. I had the first 2 weeks, reservations were open for the fundamental classes, and we weren't getting anybody, and I was like, oh my gosh, and then bam, they all filled up. And we have a waiting list of 3 right now. So I call every day, not every day, but right before the class, just to make sure they're coming, because if they're not, then I want to make sure to get a full class.
Do you have a sense of why it went bam? Was there, do you have a way of tracking kind of how people are finding out? Like they all saw the same story in the paper, or they all got the same email?
That is a great question, and that is something I might have to have Lynn say.
All tough questions.
There were, even before we knew exactly what we were doing, we had 4 people on our list. Oh, you're doing computer classes? Call me when you get those ready. I had 4 people on the list, even before any plans were really made.
That's good.
So I think probably mostly it's word of mouth, but we have, again, as part of the grant, we've advertised in the Advocate, in the Frankfurt Area News, on KNDY and KCLY. At Blue Valley, of course, is one of our partners, so on Blue Valley, in their newsletter and on Facebook and everything, as well as Facebook for us. So we've really tried to push it to lots of places, but my guess is probably word of mouth for this one.
Great, cool. It's really
Yeah.
good.
It's really exciting. I told my husband that if you would have asked me three weeks ago, when we were in the thick of planning and trying to communicate with 6 public libraries and putting together 12 laptops, is it worth it? I would have said, sure. But since then it's been fabulous. Once I saw Lynn in front of the class, once I started listening to Jerry, it always becomes worth it when you have great presenters. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. And the other leg as well, I don't think Wayne probably talks about this in his presentation, but just so that this is kind of our portion. The other portion of the grant is to bring Brian Ostrovsky from Locable to work with the Marysville businesses for their online presence. So I think his first visit is probably in November sometime. So sometime Wayne can update you about that, but that's pretty exciting too. But that has way less to do with me and way more to do with him. So thank you so much.
Good job, Mandy. Thank you.
Thank you.
We should have planned that segue. So Brian owns a company called Locable. He specializes in working in rural communities and in small businesses to help them make sure they have an online presence. So he'll be here the second week in November, and then he'll be here for 3 weeks over the next several months to work one-on-one with businesses, to do some group training, and to help develop websites. So our portion of the grant pays for him to come here. It also pays for businesses to get a free website for a year. He'll build that website for them. And then it includes Zoom training throughout as people start using the website. So it's a really exciting part of that grant. DOCK, Digital Opportunities Connecting Kansans, is what that stands for. This weekend was a great weekend in Marysville with the Highway 36 treasure hunt. We handed out 1,500 paper maps. That's double the amount of maps that we had last year. And then when I looked at our views on our online map, over 4,000 people were looking at the digital map online to find their way around town. Of the people I've talked to, I would say 2/3 of the people thought this weekend was fabulous. Another third thought it was mediocre, and maybe that's because the Highway 99 had their 99 fines this weekend, and some thought maybe that was too much, too many garage sales. And then there's also the presence of the dollar auctions and all those social media sites that maybe that's taking away some of that love to come out and go garage sailing. As I reported last week, SkyFest Marysville was a success. We brought in 3,900 people to our town, and when we started to disaggregate that data, we noticed that those younger folks came, which was one of the groups that we were trying to reach, those in the 18 to 34 range. And so now as we're looking at that data, we're trying to figure out exactly what brought them here, and then as we plan the rest of our events, what do we need to do to make sure we're always reaching that demographic? Because as we think about the future of Marysville, we have to make sure that those 18 to 34-year-olds think all of our events are fabulous and think Marysville is a great place. And as we were looking at that data, that's all through that Placer AI program, which gives us a really interesting way to look at an event, because you can just start going down some rabbit holes to find out where are people going before and after the event, and then what are your hot spots. And as you look at some of those hot spots, like the most traveled places during that time, sometimes even outdoor toilet placement can have a positive impact on a business. And so even as we start thinking about where we place certain things, outdoor seating, outdoor toilets, that can also increase business traffic. So we're keeping that in mind. Soon we'll be releasing the results of the Pony Express Gravel Dash and Pony Express Festival. Overall, we were very pleased with the event. 398 riders came to town. That's the most ever. And if you haven't been downtown during the Gravel Dash, it's a magical time to be in Marysville, because we probably have Marysville's biggest cheerleaders. It's so fun to be the local surrounded by outsiders who sing the praises of our town. So it reminds us of the great things we have going on here. And then on that Pony Express Festival side, the Pony Express Barnum Museum, they were elated with the amount of visitors that came in that day. So while people were out riding or running, their family and friends came in, locals came in, they had lots of hands-on activities, so it was a great way to keep that momentum going for that event. Allie's working on Black Squirrel Fall Fest, November 2nd. It's my understanding that coffee and donuts have been ordered. Hopefully that's on your calendar. The Black Squirrel, we hope, will make an appearance. And we might also have a female Black Squirrel costume coming, so we can get excited about that. I wish I could say our hotel occupancy numbers for August were fabulous. We were at 37%. So as we keep working on cracking that nut, things that we're talking about include talking to Vince and JC with Marshall County Sports and Recreation, that concept of bringing tournaments to town, like they did with that community college, that baseball tournament. Increasing events like that have a direct impact on who's staying in our hotels. Thinking about bringing conferences. We've put out several bids. We didn't get the bids for them to come to our town, but keeping Marysville in the forefront that this is a great place to have conferences. Partnering with our friends with the Marshall County Development Corporation, MCDC, Marshall County Tourism, to think about weekend packages, come to Marshall County. Or if you're following what Julie Roller Weeks is doing in Abilene, she just created that Gunsmoke Trail where you're going to Abilene and Wichita, the towns that were in Gunsmoke. So then Kylie from Seneca called, and Ryan from Washington County called and said, hey, maybe we need to be looking at this from a regional point of view. So let's spend the weekend in this area. Of course, we're going to have the best hotels, so trying to look at things a little bit more aggressively like that, because we certainly want to increase that occupancy rate. Any questions?
Did you put out a survey that people are online? Are you getting a lot of results back on that?
Yeah, we are. So we have a survey out right now about the 4th of July celebration. We've posted it on our social media platforms. I sent it in our newsletter. Generally, the newspaper picks up on that, so hopefully they'll put it in there as well, to ask the community for feedback on 4th of July. Specifically, we're looking at what kind of fireworks exhibit they'd like, and then as we look to next year, because it won't be a SkyFest, it'll be something else. What might that event look like?
Okay. Also, how is the recovery from the flooding in your offices? Are things back to normal? Are they in limbo?
Well, they're not back to normal, but the office, I'm in my office, and people are coming into my office. The floor is still ripped up. Josh and I have talked about what's the next step, and Cindy popped in this morning to talk about, what are we going to do with that floor? What's our long-term plan for that building? So the conversation's going. In our mind, we plan to be there for at least 5 more years.
Yeah.
If that helps the council. And of course, a while ago, we talked about, gosh, we love that space across from the office. Could there be a building there someday? And even if that is a building someday, that's at least a 5-year plan down the road. So, but then looking at, well, what kind of floor do we want to do?
Yeah, I was curious, going back with carpet or,
Yeah.
I don't know how hard it would be for us to get a floor drain in. So if this kind of thing happens
We took
again,
the floor drain out, so it wouldn't come in, because that was the issue before.
It was coming
Because it was
up.
originally
Yeah.
built as a fire station.
Yeah.
And then it became a police station, and it came in from the outside. So we fixed that so that wouldn't happen anymore. That's what Ally has always been alluding to, it came up, but that wasn't what this was.
Right.
We worked with both plumbers
Mm-hmm.
to make sure we first want to know that we have this issue fixed.
Right.
Before we go putting a floor down,
Well,
that
yeah.
we will have to take back up again.
Well, and I think the morning of the bike ride, I called Charlie up there hey, the bathrooms aren't working, and
they were
it definitely was not made for
heavy use.
heavy use or an office building.
And I think he thought too, he said, a lot of the new stools don't run enough water through. And so he upped the water level, and we're gonna see if that helps. But I just think going forward, we need to know if we're having events, this is closed, and we just need to have porta potties. I mean, it's great for
Well,
ladies'
that-
lounge or whatever, but
It's great for ladies' lounge or whatever,
Yeah.
but in the future, we need to find another spot, in my opinion. Because it was a barn one time, and we put sewer in it.
It was a barn. I don't know that we would say it was a barn.
Well, I'm not saying a barn, but
It was the original
Yeah,
City
it's
Hall
a-
fire station.
yes, I know.
Right.
And so we just need to figure out if there's something wrong with the sewer line, or if it just was
Right,
unfortunate 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
okay.
We're certainly, the office doesn't look fabulous for when visitors come in, but, it is what it is right now. We're fine to let's figure out what's going on, where we want to go, rather than just
Yeah.
slap down like
Right.
a floor that even wouldn't be necessarily cheap in the grand scheme of things. Andy Feldkamp has been in, and John Kelzer has been in as well. John's the one who does the epoxy floors. And those quotes are, they're really close in reality, so.
And epoxy won't get hurt by water.
That was our thinking too, Chris, yeah.
If you get the sewer fixed.
Yeah, because it's
Even if
still
it don't
a
get
mess.
the sewer, but
It's still a mess.
The only other thing I had was I had talked to some out-of-towners who had been here for the gravel dash, and they were a little confused because they'd come in early and they had gone to the former visitors center, I don't know what you want to call it, up here at the corner of 10th and Center, and it was closed, and they were a little confused about, is that an actual visitor center? So I guess that's a question, is that an actual, it's got a sign that says visitor center, but they don't, the hours are a little irregular. Is this something that we're at all concerned about as far as confusion for visitors? Is this on your radar?
It's definitely on our radar, and we heard that too. It's very
Okay.
confusing.
Yeah,
And I think our thinking would be, in Marysville, Kansas, one visitor center seems to be fine.
right.
We like I will say, we like our location, whether we're at 617 Broadway, or if eventually we go to 620 Broadway. We like being in the heart of downtown. You can talk to any of the volunteers that come into my office, and they'll agree with me. There are always people coming into the office to use the restrooms, to pick up maps, there's great places to park. There's tons of parking. They come and talk. They pop over there to see Lori, or they go to Backroads Bicycle. It's a fabulous location.
Are there signs up at the other place, Wayne, that direct them to your place on Broadway?
No.
So
Maybe we need to
is
start
this
with that, or?
the other places?
MCDC owns that building, and it's their signs, so it would be a conversation.
What
we
is,
have to
I was
have.
gonna say is, do we have regular communications with MCDC? I'd like to know if they want to keep those signs and keep it operating as a visitor center, and if so, how can we,
But I and
Who is their, do we know who their president
Bruce
is?
Deerking is their president.
Bruce is?
Mhm. They meet every
he
other
owns
month.
the building, and there are like 3 of them that own the building.
Okay.
He's one of them.
Yeah, I don't think Bruce owns it.
He and Charlie.
Yeah, but at least they had a
Electric,
sign up that said this office is
No, no.
Oh,
closed,
yeah.
please go.
Go
to
down there,
6
yeah.
something.
Or if
Yeah.
it's, I mean, and maybe their goal,
That's
and
a-
I'm not trying to put it in
Yeah.
their, words in their mouth, but if it's a county to, visitor center versus the city visitor center, then maybe that's the way to split that, but as it is, yeah, I think it's just confusing.
Yeah, but Wayne's got lots of brochures and stuff for everywhere in his
Yeah.
office too.
Right.
so.
Okay.
I had one thing about the fireworks. I mean, nothing's as good as the stuff exploding, but I don't know if you guys have maybe looked into those drone firework shows.
Yeah.
I don't know the cost on those things or
It's
not.
similar cost and similar problems to hot air balloons. And like hot air balloons, of course, didn't go up for 2 years. If you followed the Lawrence fireworks or drone celebration this year, it was a bomb for 2 reasons. Wind plays a role with drones, and Wi-Fi. Yeah. So we are looking, not to poo-poo your idea, because
No,
it's on
I'm
our
just curious
radar.
if
Yeah.
anybody, I just see more and more of
Yep.
the popularity of it.
Yeah.
Me personally, I like the other stuff, but yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yep. Thank you very much.
All right, seeing no other public here to speak, I'll move on to business and discussion. First up, we have the Arbor Day proclamation that I have in front of me to read. And it goes, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are renewable resources giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products, and whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community, and whereas the city of Marysville has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for over 40 consecutive years and desires to continue its tree planting practices, now therefore, I, Todd Fry, Mayor of the City of Marysville, do hereby proclaim October 8th, 2024 as Arbor Day in the City of Marysville, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Dated this 23rd day of September, 2024.
It is going to be at 9:30 at the city cemetery if you want to be there when they plant the trees that the city plants. On the south side, they're planting a new line of trees.
Yeah, did a good job with that.
9:30. So if anybody could come, that'd be great.
AM, I assume.
All right, there we go.
Thank you.
Next up, I had number 2, reminder on the lead pipe service line survey, which is due October 16th in Topeka. Do you have any other comments on that, Cindy?
I do. That survey is mandated by the federal government. If you write unknown on it, they will assume you have lead. So you really need to figure out what you have, and if you have lead, you have to replace it. And it is an ongoing thing, so every single year, if you didn't fill out your survey this year, you're gonna get another one next year. If you build a new house, we have to send that in as well, so it's an ongoing forever thing in the federal government at this point.
What kind of completion rate or,
How
volume?
far are we?
Yeah,
Like, not even 50, I don't think.
not
We
even.
really are pushing some of the landlords that have several places that'll help up the number. But
We're
yeah,
not even at 50% complete.
we weren't. I don't know if we are now. So, I mean, it's really important because we don't have a choice. We'll have to keep bugging you until we get them, or they'll probably come with a mandate that says if you've not responded, then you need to replace it. And really, people don't want
No.
So if you don't have lead, are you supposed to respond? Just so.
Yeah, you say you don't have lead and then you
Okay.
don't get a lettering.
it. And it'll ask you if it was PEX or copper that comes into your house, so yeah. And they ask what year your house is built, and that gives them a pretty good idea
What it has for plumbing.
after a certain date.
Well, if I can go down in my basement and look and see what I have going out the wall.
Yeah, and so that's very helpful for you to know,
Does that just cover the sewer line under the ground or even in the house?
all of it.
All of it, yeah.
Not sewer or water.
It's water.
It's so that there's
Just
not,
water
yeah,
line.
so so that there's
Gotcha.
not lead in water.
Okay.
That's hard on children.
Because there's a lot of old cast iron with leaded sleeves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I see.
But that's not what they're looking for.
So, it's just a reminder, because the date is October 16th, which means we have to have it all, and they have an exact form it has to go in on. So it can't just be willy-nilly. So we need them before that so we can get them. You know, we have them in that form now, the ones we have, but, so before October 10th would be awesome. And you can pull it offline, or you can come in and we'll get you a new copy, we'll mail you a copy, anything you want.
Get your surveys filled out, please.
Please.
Okay. Next up, we have the letter of no objection to the Grainbelt Express transmission line right-of-way proposal, however you want to phrase that.
Yeah.
As you can see in your minutes, where they're talking about crossing over our water line. So,
Down on 11th Terrace.
yeah.
But the grain belt is pretty much, it's a done deal. It's not the new one where.
Is this the
This
one,
isn't the super wide one.
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, is this the
This
one that's
is-
supposed to be 5 miles
This
wide?
is happening, yeah.
Yeah, this one's gonna happen
This
already.
is the one that's already been approved.
I
Yeah.
believe this is the one that's approved.
It is.
Because if it's the one that's 5 miles wide, I don't,
No, that's a different, that would be a different conversation,
Like 50 feet wide
yeah. So, I guess I would need council's approval to sign.
move to approve the letter for the Grain Belt Express LLC, no objection, letter of no objection.
or something. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Thank you. Next up, we have a request from CES Group to temporarily block the sidewalk around the construction of their new office building at the former Boss Motors location.
Move to approve the request from CES.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
You gotta start somewhere, and if they're gonna get going on it, I'm more than happy to block it
I'm
off. so
glad
they
it's
can
getting-
build.
It is safe.
It's moving, yeah.
How long will it be blocked? Do we have any idea?
No, I don't think that was in the request.
But I don't think it'll be any different than the health department.
Yeah.
Right,
no,
I know.
I don't think it will either.
They'll move pretty quickly.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
8-0.
Thank you. Okay, next up, we have a request for convention and tourism funding in the amount of $11,950. You can see the breakout in your minutes.
I have some questions.
Yes.
Why are we paying for $10,000 for a new website? I thought they got a grant for this.
That's only a third of it.
I know, that's what I'm saying, that's an awful lot of money.
Wayne?
I'm happy to answer a question. I didn't understand your question.
Why are we paying for $10,000 for a new website? I thought you guys got a grant for it.
We did to pay for part of it.
All I gotta say is, we're gonna run out of money, because you know, as well as I do, the motels haven't been full. We haven't got that much this year, and we have to use part of that money to pay for the Kester block.
Well, you don't have to use part of that money.
We don't have any other place to get that money to pay for the Kester block. And then why are we purchasing clothing for Marysville employees? The city employees only get 6 T-shirts a year.
I don't
Why-
know, I don't know that we've specifically allotted for that before or been requested of that before. I've
And
noticed
why
that
are
as
we
well, but
paying for a conference table? I just realized that.
Did the one get ruined in the flood, or?
No.
No.
I believe, no, there was a replacement for the former one. I think it wasn't working very well, and I believe that, I don't know, I can't really speak to the purchase, I wasn't party to that, but I know it's been replaced with a better table and chairs.
The old set wasn't very good.
No, the outset was not particularly good. I sat on it many times, not the table, the chairs, just to be clear.
I'm not comfortable spending all that money out of convention and tourism. We are paying Wayne's salary out of there. And I'm just afraid we're gonna run out of funds. These are expenses that I would have never, ever dreamed we would have to pay.
So,
I guess I'd just like some clarification on what the expenses are for the website. That's the only thing I'm
the
asking.
total expense,
Yes.
Wayne, can you advise what the approximately?
That's what the website is costing, and I don't know how else to answer your question.
Do we have any bills? Can we see any bills? I mean,
We don't have anything here. We've never seen it.
yeah, I can't imagine a website costing $30,000.
I don't know what goes into that. I mean,
I do.
I've never built a website.
I do. And it's not, I've never spent $30,000 on a website.
So are there any of these where if more information or explanation was brought forward, you would
Possibly.
want to, I mean,
But as it stands right now, I'm not in favor of it at all.
So could we remove the website request and maybe ask for some more information on it? Because it is kind of, pay 1/3 of the cost to create a new website for One Marysville. It's kind of vague. Which, at the same time, we've asked them to take over convention and tourism for us.
right?
And we have the funds here. And if we don't have the trust in them to do it,
So if you
are we still gonna try to keep our finger on top of their head the whole time? Or do we just let them,
I understand what you're, yeah.
see where I'm going, Todd?
I do. I guess, specifically on the website, if you had a breakout of the total amount with like how that breaks out as far as the other 2/3 and, I guess an assurance that this is the only portion that's gonna be asked for, there's not another 1/6 coming or something. What would you like to see from One Marysville or from Convention and Tourism in regards to the website? What are you asking of them? I guess if we're gonna separate it out, and I wanna make sure our ask is clear, so it's not something where, they don't know tomorrow or before the next meeting what it is that we need to see to understand or approve.
And I've had this argument for a long time now. Well, not a long time, but we have so many different websites. Even the city's paying for a website, right?
Yeah.
Ours is like $100.
$100, okay, $100. So if we could get away from paying $100 a year and we just piggyback onto them?
I think the idea here.
is the plan,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
I think that's the idea.
That's where the conversation has to go is what are we doing here? Is it gonna be just One Marysville, or can we incorporate other groups into it?
Yes.
Sorry, Wayne.
And Colleen, we're just gonna get down into a disagreement. $100 website is not going to work for us. This website is designed specifically for us. It's not some formulaic website. There is many components to it, including, since we're now convention and tourism, we're moving towards convention and tourism and the business sector, you've got a whole section for business resources. So if you're a new business owner, what do you do? If you want to do signage, want to change your signage, what do you do? There's a whole section for that. There's a whole section for if you're new to Marysville. Right now that we've started our lunch bunches, we're finding that people are trying to look for ways to connect with people. They're not finding their friend group. They don't know what's going on. So we understand we have to make sure we're providing an opportunity for those who are new to Marysville to love Marysville. And so that's part of the website. Then there's the whole section that talks about the visitors that are coming to Marysville. So part of it deals with our history. Part of it deals with the museums. Part of it deals with the community calendar. So they're creating things that we've asked them to do from scratch.
So, on that note, who's going to maintain it and how much is it going to cost to maintain that website?
I maintain the website, or this office maintains the website.
You yourself are going to be able to do it?
Yes.
Okay.
We
Then,
don't have to have a host.
There's-
is what
yeah,
she's
there's
asking.
Well, there's a host.
Oh, we'll pay for
Yeah.
hosting as well?
Do you,
not
when you,
maintenance.
maybe we better define how you're using the verb maintain. In my mind, like updating, like if there's a problem with the website, I don't know how to do that, but
so
keeping it
how much are we
current.
going to pay for that?
Oh, that's $600 a year, which is what we currently pay.
So I'm going to go full circle. If we're going to go down this route, is there any reason that the city can't be involved in it? As far as our website, to have one central location to go to see what's going on in Marysville. You want to see what's going on in government? Click on the tab and see the agenda, the minutes, and
Having so many websites that are infrequently updated and poorly connected has been, I'd say, an ongoing
Absolutely.
concern,
Yeah.
identified by everybody who uses websites
Yeah.
connected to Marysville. So, yeah, if we can somehow integrate and cohesively do that, I'm not in love with our website. I mean, maybe it's good
So-
value for what we're paying,
Right.
but
The
If you wanna
problem with
have-
that,
Yeah.
who's going to, are they going to be able to do that at City Hall, upload all that stuff?
Yes. I mean, the way the current website is, the back end of the website, it doesn't have to be me. Like, it's similar, it uses that WordPress, and so other groups that use WordPress, you can log in from wherever you are.
because my big holdup is if we're going to spend money on technology, it needs to be all encompassing, not just one group, one group, one group.
Jeffrey, we agree with you, and when we started this conversation, it was with a different city administrator, because we did talk about having one.
I think it'd be beneficial for us to have that. And I mean, getting there's obviously not going to be easy or cheap or fast.
It's not.
I'd rather type in Marysville, Kansas, and boom, I'm right there.
Get everything you want.
And I got a link to the city, I have a link to the one, or the chamber group, I don't know the right way to explain it.
Okay.
And there might be a link to the library, and
And-
the school.
Yes.
Go look
You know?
around other towns in the area, Abilene amongst others, and they have that. They
And then I
have
watched a
you.
video that Tommy made.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the way I look at it.
And Colleen, I understand what you're saying about that's an expensive price tag. We agree with that. But we have to remember that we've been at this for over a year. For over a year, that's how long it's taken us to work with the company to talk these issues through, because there's not one formula we're going for. I mean, we could have done that for $100, but that's not what we want, because that's not gonna get us what we need. So there's all that conceptual discussion about what are your needs? How is this going to work? And you have to pay the company to do that.
Well, and I understand that.
Yep.
But $30,000 is a lot of money for a website, especially if you're using WordPress. You know, that's a lot of money. It's not like it's specifically written, you're using WordPress, which can generate different things. So that's,
Do you have a price in mind on what it should cost?
I know what I've paid,
Which is,
$10,000 for the whole thing.
For what?
But that's
Website.
one unique business, it's not encompassing 500 different things that I mean.
It's
the man hours
encompassing a
alone,
lot.
The people that know this technology, I know it's not cheap. I pay an arm and a leg for my website, and it's not even close to what this is gonna be.
Whatever.
We will have to have invoices on all of it, even
Yeah.
if we're just paying a third, which, you know, I'm
Yeah.
just saying it.
There will be
So everybody knows.
transparency.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for the table and chairs and all of it, so just because
But,
we have to.
but if we go down this route with this proposal, it has to be all encompassing with the city website as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
The information that we need to put out there.
That's not gonna happen overnight.
Who is our in-house,
Deb,
Wayne, are you,
We're, of course, wanting to discuss that. That
mean-
makes total sense. And your website needs to be updated, folks.
yes, thank you.
I mean,
We know.
it does.
Putting that gently. Thank you.
okay, so what's the council's wishes here?
I'm gonna move and approve $1,950 so far to convention and tourism, and keep the $10,000 for the website on discussion, or on the table, whatever.
Second.
Okay, it's moved and seconded to move, to approve the $1,200 and $750 purchases, requests under the Convention and Tourism Funding. Is there any further discussion?
How long are we tabling this discussion for?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't,
Well, I mean.
we can bring it back immediately, or the next
Okay.
meeting,
Okay.
so.
Is it going to raise the cost by trying to add the city, where you said that you have different categories to get city stuff on there, that's gonna raise the cost of the website again?
I would imagine.
yeah, it would have.
We can, we can find out how much that is. I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully it's negligible, but I wouldn't know.
30,000, why wouldn't it include it? I mean, that's just what blows my mind. So, anyway.
Okay, well, there's a motion on the table. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
7-1. Okay, there is still the request in front of you for $10,000 for the website.
I'm kind of leaning towards what Jeff was saying. I mean, I don't know if you wanna explore that possibility at all more.
That adding the city, you mean?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Is that gonna set anything back?
Yeah.
If this is tabled to get that information?
I don't think so. I mean, I keep
Okay.
working on all the back end stuff.
Okay. Who needs to reach out to get that information? Would that be something we do as a city, or can you talk to the developer and find out maybe what that would be and
So you're
apprise
saying,
the city?
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, we would appreciate it.
So at the next meeting, like, my responses aren't going to be any different. Like, Colleen, you and I just disagree, which is fine. But like, I'm not gonna have any other answer. Like, my answers aren't going to change when it comes to that. But I understand if you're saying, if the other piece you want is what's it gonna be to bring the city on, I can bring that back.
Yeah.
But I can't bring anything else back. We're gonna move forward
Right.
with this.
Yeah. Well
Without
understood.
convention and tourism funding or not.
Well
we'll move
understood.
forward.
But if you can get that piece of information for us by the next meeting.
Yeah, and so you're saying you want the city website to be part of onemarysville.com or one.
But the way I'd approach it is not that, hey, we need to go back and see how much more this is gonna cost us. Oh, by the way, we also wanna host the city
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
information. You understand what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
Because that's what it's coming out to be right now in this discussion is, well, wait a minute, let's see how much more it costs to do that.
Because,
No, let's not,
You're not looking for ad options.
no.
because the same way, you need to get the school involved, you know, all that.
Well, just, and that's just a link.
Yeah,
To
I know,
just go,
just,
boom.
And you'll bring a copy of the invoice. I mean, if that will ease their mind.
Oh, yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we will leave that be till the next meeting. Thank you, Wayne.
Thanks,
Thanks, Wayne.
Okay, moving to the next item, the Blue River Rail Trail sign request for the 7th Street corridor. Nobody here from the Rail Trail Board.
They just,
How high in the air are
I'm
these?
on the Rail Trail Board, but I don't know if I'm speaking for it. I know a little bit, so I'm not pitching it, but I can answer maybe some questions.
These gonna be standard height off the ground, like
These-
whatever our,
Yeah,
our
whatever
requirement is.
DOT requirement, and setback for turning trucks, because that was something, this has been discussed for a while, because there did not want there to be any risk of turning trucks, catching the one on that alley.
Right.
To the point where after a busy day, we've actually gone down there and like seen if there's tracks, so if trucks are cutting it, but it appears that no, trucks are not cutting that
Are we
corner.
gonna run into any issues with city ordinances with like, sign pollution or anything like that? I mean,
Not had that before.
I don't think, I don't know that we would. I don't think especially here, since there's really not
Nothing
much
really.
for to
It's-
compete with it.
It's
I just
funny.
know it's been brought up in the past, like with
Yeah.
stuff
It
on the
was.
highway, so I just wanted to
No, I
make sure
agree.
we're not stepping.
The highway involves KDOT,
Yeah,
and they
it's
have
KDOT.
very specific
So that's just
requirements on
Fortunately,
there.
this is off the highway,
Yeah.
So
so,
it's not.
yeah.
Oh,
And it's,
this other one goes on the bottom of the sign that exists.
and the other one's, yeah, not even a new pole.
on that.
It's just
Oh,
a
wow.
new sign.
Yeah.
The
No.
demand for
They're both
this,
3x4. You're not gonna get a 3x4 sign on the bottom of that other one.
That's what they told us they were doing.
maybe it's one side of it and a secondary post, maybe it's like a
Okay,
two-post
so I'm gonna
sign.
say a three
I
by
wasn't
four
even-
sitting on that.
I
that
only
sign's
know
really
about
gonna
the
go
one
like
side.
that.
The idea here is a lot of people, and I witnessed it when I've been at the Chamber Main Street building downtown, will come in and, hey, where's the trail? And it's kind of, it's kind of over there, and since that's undeveloped, if you have a big blue sign, you could stand at one Marysville building and go, that blue sign right there, and it makes it really easy and clear.
I was at Bruce's the other day and there was a couple that had come up the corridor and for some reason they went over to Sixth Street.
Yeah,
And they wanted to know where the trail was, and I said, go back across, and I says, go up Seventh Street, and I said, you'll go up there 2 more blocks, and I says, then you'll catch it.
until
You
it
know.
gets finished, it's difficult for people
Yeah,
to,
it's just,
Yeah.
you can't see it from anywhere, cause it looks like it's going up the regular street too.
Right.
Yeah.
Move to approve the request.
Second.
okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next up, we have a request for extension of hearing for nuisance at 906 Oto. Do you know anything
I do.
about this?
And you have the weed thing on your desk for that reason, so you know what the weed nuisance is. It's grass and it's about, I don't know, way tall, way tall. And that's where the fire was last year up against Sarah Kissinger's
Yep.
house and
Yep.
Carol Phillips' house and all of that. They
The neighbors are not okay with this.
No.
No, not at all.
And unless we change our
I'm
policy,
okay
we
with
can't.
hearing, like, extending the hearing to have Andy come to the meeting, but I don't know if it's gonna change anything.
I was gonna say why, because this is the ordinance, this is the way it is,
You'd have to.
and we have to let everybody not mow their grass if
I'm
we
not
change
saying
it.
not mow his grass, I'm saying let him come to a meeting and say what he wants to say because he couldn't make it tonight. I'm not saying don't mow your grass, I'm saying he requested to come to another meeting, I think we should let him come
But
to another
does he
meeting.
have to mow before that, is the question, because we don't know what to tell him, because his
Well,
date's up.
I would think he could mow before the meeting.
I mean, I would think.
Wouldn't
would
that
be-
fix the
would solve
problem?
It It would.
But he doesn't want to,
Then why does he want
He
to?
was gonna be out of town on this, didn't
he doesn't wanna mow.
He was just gonna be out of town today, Chris.
he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that he's asked for a stay here means something. We had a lot of people who communicate 0, and I want to make sure we respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he's asking for is an extension on the.
Move to approve the request to extend it till next week.
Second.
You don't want him to mow at all.
Let it go like it is right.
You know, I'd say let him come and speak his piece, and we can have that discussion. Okay,
I would second that, but I would hope that he would mow it by the next meeting.
I already second that, but it's fine.
Yeah, Lord, there we go.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the extension. Is there a further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
7-1.
No.
Yeah.
I'm the no vote.
Okay, next up we have request for release of temporary easements at 2002 Center Street.
What was the easement for initially?
That corner,
When they redid that corner, when they did the stoplights in there, and made their drive-through at Hardee's.
Oh, that was an
So
easement
it's-
for like the contractor.
For the construction easement.
I'm not, yeah, I didn't know it was there, so.
And
this-
it was originally a temporary easement.
No, it was a construction easement. It wasn't temporary.
So how will this affect us?
Well, it says temporary construction easement.
Well, we're not doing any construction there, so I don't know that it does affect us.
It'd only be if they would want to redo that corner, they'd have to get a different easement again if they haven't built
Yeah.
over the top.
And if the property sells and somebody wants to come and do something different there, I would think that would be grand, because it would look better.
I would move to approve the request to
Second.
remove the temporary easement.
Okay, it's moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Who seconded it?
3 people.
I did.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sorry.
I figured
didn't-
you just
I
pick
thought it
one
was a late-
when everybody talks at once.
I get too many that I
Just pick
don't
one.
know.
Somebody.
Yeah, just
right.
pick somebody.
Okay, all right.
Let's do that again. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, next up, we have resolution 2024-22, for a nuisance, 1411 Alston Street.
Move to approve resolution 2024-22.
Second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? I would note that this is property that was recently especially brought to our attention, and it's good to see we're getting on taking action right away, so. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Ado.
Thank you. Okay, I see we have no notices or hearings. We have no consent agenda. Bit of an oddity.
Yes.
We do have the presentation of appropriations ordinance number 3831.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3831, the amount of $322,189.41.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Roll call?
Snelling,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Schrader,
Yes.
Brackey,
Yes.
Ado.
Thank you. We have no city administrator tonight for a report. I was gonna ask if you do have anything, Cindy?
Okay, so we got the bid from 11th Road. The bid was, their intent is for next spring. There was an error in the bid. It was still a very good bid, but they will bring it back to the meeting, the next meeting, so that you guys can all see it. Josh wasn't at the bid, so that you can all talk with him and see the bid. Also, we got the bid for Highway 77 South, which was a huge number, and I don't know how that'll go. That one has to be rejected, change the scope, or canceled by October 11th. So that's going to entail a special meeting, because our next meeting won't be before that, and KDOT has to know our answer. So we do need to set up a street, or a special meeting. And the one on 11th Road would not have to come at this special meeting, or it can come at this special meeting, but the one on Highway 77 would, and it may make a difference in your decision, you know, if you know.
Special meeting by when?
Before October 11th. They have to know by October 11th, which is, yeah, it's a Friday. That's a Friday, so we'd have to have it either the first or second week in October.
Can we stop in and see information on the bids?
Yeah.
In the next couple days? Okay, all right.
And remember, Kevin, Sheree, and I, and Josh are gonna leave on the
The
10th.
ninth.
Oh, the 9th.
The
He's
9th.
leaving on the 9th, you guys are leaving on the 10th.
10th, yeah.
Yeah.
And my inclination would be we do it as soon as possible, as in maybe at least by the first week, so that way, heaven forbid, we need more information or whatever we have time for
We do have
another special meeting.
Daniel working on it.
Okay.
So hopefully he
I wanna
can
make
come
sure
with
we
numbers.
leave
Absolutely.
a gap.
No, I get it.
And you wanna explain anything about it?
Well,
Well, you must
I
know.
think there
already.
was a mistake in the bid.
oh,
there.
there, well, no, the one on Highway 77 is just huge.
Right.
And it's because of concrete. And there's been a relationship problem between concrete plants and KDOT and some of that stuff.
Well,
They don't
the
wanna use
relationship
local
problem is the same problem we have going south of town here. you can't get a concrete company to hit the state's
Right, absolutely,
requirements.
right. And I did tell that to KDOT.
The previous 10th Street project, did we use local concrete on that?
Yes.
I thought
We did.
Yeah, we did,
So what
but
changed?
what's gonna happen is you're gonna have this requirement from the state, and if we are set in stone of doing that, they're gonna come in and say, okay, we're moving a concrete plant in, and then that price goes,
I don't think it could go much higher than this.
oh, it could.
They weren't bringing in concrete plants with this.
Well,
But Daniel is working on that, and he's working on changing the scope to asphalt. I asked him to change the scope. He said, well, we could change the distance, we could stop at Jackson. I said, it's worse from Jackson to the bridge, why would we do that? And all the sewer and stuff is from Park to Jackson, that's the high
Is
dollar.
asphalt gonna be
I don't know.
sufficient for the traffic?
I mean, that almost, to me, I don't wanna say defeats the purpose, but
Yeah.
I mean, the whole purpose of this going concrete was we're future-proofing the heavy traffic that will always be on
yeah.
there.
I don't
And
think
it,
asphalt's
look how,
gonna stand
I
up.
mean, look how good.
and that's why
it
the
is.
turnpike is made of asphalt?
Some, depends on where you're at.
Most of the
Jeff.
highways in Nebraska are switching to asphalt?
No, a lot of them are concrete base with an asphalt top.
No, they're not.
Here's the thing
They,
though,
they
that's,
round them out, yeah.
there's different.
You can argue with me all day
You can
long.
give the asphalt plant money every couple of years
The-
forever, Jeff.
The
but-
New Jersey Turnpike is not made of or concrete.
But this isn't the New Jersey Turnpike.
Well,
This is 10th
think about
Street.
it.
I did ask him to get us some alternates, so that you guys would
Yeah, I'm
have
fine
more
with that.
options,
I've had-
so you could see the difference.
If the data, if
And
you
if
can
somebody
find the
would be
data,
willing to
change my
bring in a
mind.
plant, what that would cost as well.
I'd like to see that.
He is gonna bring those.
I don't believe you can pave the world in concrete, but I do believe there's a place for it on streets like that. I mean, I feel like we're gonna end up, we'll look at 36. I mean, not saying we should do that necessarily, but look how bad it's alligatoring, and we have to throw money at it every few years, and it's a bigger number every few years.
Do again in 26.
Some of the concrete streets we have in town are 50 years old and holding out.
Asphalt's not guaranteed for.
Yeah, we have concrete streets in town, very new, next to CJ's Express on the east side of town, that need work on them already.
Well, yeah, they've got spots that definitely need.
Yeah,
need
and,
work.
and when you fix concrete, you fix a spot and you chase a spot the rest of your life.
Yeah, but asphalt, you just have to rip it up and do it over.
No, asphalt's called, you do maintenance. The Oquito Highway, the road going south to Greenleaf, you just maintain them. It's kinda like your car. You gonna change the oil in your car, or you just gonna let it sit for 10 years?
No, to me, this is the difference of, are you gonna use mineral oil, or are you gonna use synthetic? What are you gonna use? Use the right oil for the job.
Well, it's not concrete.
We're gonna just keep diving down the rabbit hole. I'll go there with you.
Let's go on.
All right,
Do you have a
moving on.
We both know where we stand.
A time, a date, I'm trying to get.
Monday would be
The 30th.
literally one of the only times in the next
I can tell you that.
week I don't have anything going on.
But that's fine.
Days or day everybody else can come?
And can you send the information on the bids, like digitally to us, so we can?
KDOT bids,
receive
we
them?
cannot see, they will not give those numbers. Daniel's gonna try to get them. All they did is give us total. This is the low bid, your share is, the total bid was $2,271,942.
What
and
about
our share would
October
be
2nd, Colleen?
$1,234,000, which is about $1 million
Wednesday?
over what we were
How
hoping.
do we make a decision if we don't have?
So, Daniel was gonna try to
Monday,
get line items,
Thursday?
but they would not.
Well, and that's part of the problem. We're looking at 11th Road.
And then
That we do have the numbers
I
on, Jeff.
thought I had.
You're looking at two different projects.
Special meeting at 5:30.
So we're gonna mobilize people to come in and do two different projects.
Okay, so I can do that.
Figure out a way to do it at the same time, one group, one contractor, and one mobilization. Otherwise, it's what we've been doing so far, is we just nickel and dime ourselves to death. Oh, let's go do 1,000 feet here. Let's go do 800 foot here.
11th Road doesn't have to meet those same specs. So that's
Right.
why.
Well,
11th Road's
true.
also not gonna all be concrete, is it? Didn't we, is all gonna be concrete? Okay, well.
Yeah, we're gonna put more concrete out there. Mm-hmm.
How about the 2nd,
Wow.
October 2nd?
Okay, October 2nd is a Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Does
And
that
we
work
have
for
the
anybody?
3 o'clock police and fire
And we're trying to come up with the police and fire if we did that on the same day.
Yes,
And then, is there a time?
What date are we talking about?
October 3rd.
Third?
No, the second.
Sorry, it's Wednesday. I keep
Wednesday
thinking,
the 2nd.
does that work at all for the, special meeting?
Works for me.
And a time?
Anytime after
Five.
2 works for me.
Okay.
Anytime after, what, 3:30 works for us?
If you do the 3:30 meeting, yeah, maybe
If
5.
we do the 3 and be done by
I
3:30.
prefer it be after 5.
Yeah.
Possible.
5:30, would that be?
That's fine.
If we try to do it earlier, I don't know, see if we can get all the information we need. At least we've got a date, and we'll try to get you. the
October
time.
2nd at 5:30.
Right, and that's a Wednesday. And I hope I don't have anything on that day.
We don't have to order anything in here, do we?
Oh, maybe.
When was it, so we have a definite date on that police and fire one? When is
If you
that?
want to do that on Wednesday, October 2nd, let's try, like at
Oh, do the
3:30.
same thing?
Yeah,
And
and then in the
3:30?
evening, but I gotta check for court. I didn't think about
Or else
that.
maybe we can go up to the
Only
library or
what was-
I was
something.
gonna say, we can meet off-site
If we
if
have
we
to.
needed.
Fire station.
Only
Fire
Yeah, we've done
station
that
would be a
before.
good
Done
option.
that one too.
Was that at 3, the police and fire?
Yes, 3.
That'll be here. Yeah,
3 o'clock.
Okay.
okay, that will be helpful.
Any other great news for us, Cindy?
No. Oh, there was one more thing, maybe not. I hope not. That might be all that I had. You go ahead. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Standing committee reports. We had any committee meetings? I don't believe we have. Okay. I see no appointments nor wage terminations. We do have city attorney, Aaron.
So I do have an update on the Molnaric hearing. It's going to be October 1st at 11:45 a.m. It's going to be a case management conference to see how the judge wants to move forward with it. Would have liked to have gotten one sooner, but we're at the mercy of the courts as far as their scheduling goes. As for the ground lease on the Kester block, I was notified Friday that we need to get moving on that. And so I've done a review of the lease. I'm going to prepare a summary memo. I think we're going to need to reach out to the city's insurance carrier to discuss, coverage options, because the city is still going to have to maintain some type of liability coverage over the property during the term of this lease, because the city still has the owner interest in the property.
Okay, because I thought
So-
that was gonna go away.
So, and there are just a few other things that I would like to tweak, but maybe, we can either distribute out copies to all the council members so that you guys can formulate just one question sheet to me. We can all address it once rather than individual emails from every member. And then we can present our revisions to the developer and his attorney and go from there. But I mean, all in all, I think the lease is very close to what we're looking for, but there are some things I would like to see changed.
Okay.
What time was that hearing on the 1st?
11:45.
What's it for, please?
It was an appeal by Walter Molnaric against the condemnation of his property on Calhoun.
Thank you.
So we're still dealing with Walter?
Yeah. He lives there, but
Yeah, it's a mess.
the Kester property, that one, I know sooner rather than later, Tyler needs us to get the lease so he can send in his, grants. So that's why we're pushing on that. So if he sends that to you, if you guys get your questions back to Aaron
And so
relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Is for Tyler to be able to move forward.
and it may be, I didn't know if it was worth suggesting possibly having a special meeting to go over it, or if the subcommittee that had met with the developer, the city administrator, and myself want to get together, go over questions. But I think the city council does need to have input in short order on this so that we can get it taken care of.
Yeah, because he has a pretty good size funding that he's gonna be working on here pretty soon.
It's incumbent on us to help him move as fast as
yes,
possible.
Yeah.
So, and I think he had told you
He just,
by the end of the month, you know,
yeah, he'd
hopefully
like to
of
have it by
October.
the end of the month if he
Yeah.
could get it, but I don't know if that's
That's
possible.
pushing.
That
But-
is pushing.
But, I mean, I'd really
I
like.
think he doesn't have to absolutely have it till the end of October, but we just need to get moving
He needs
fast
it
enough.
to
He needs to
probably-
know.
Yeah, to get his
So
stuff
we
back.
should expect an email from you?
Right,
Aaron?
and then we also need time to go back and forth with him and his attorneys if we are going to ask questions, or suggest revisions, there has to be a little bit of negotiation time in there, so.
So if you get an email, when you get an email from Aaron, respond only to Aaron, not to all, on the questions.
And I'll probably just forward it to either Cindy or Josh.
Okay.
And if everybody could just, you know, I don't know if it'd be possible for you or Josh to compile all the
Sure,
questions.
you can send them to me and I'll
But it-
compile them.
I would appreciate
It'll be a
that.
while for him to get back.
Rather than trying to find everybody's emails and the hundreds of emails I get on a daily basis, so.
I can do it, I can send it out. Yep,
Okay.
that's fine. That'll work.
Good deal. Anything else?
Other than that, no.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone see a need for an executive session tonight? Okay. Council comments. Lori?
My only thing was, a while back, you brought up maybe moving our meetings up a little earlier.
Did I?
Yeah, I remember this vaguely, but I feel like that would be a great idea.
Like, what
Instead
are
of 7, 5:30, 6, I don't know.
I think part of the logic was if it was people who are either coming to present to us and they may be traveling, that maybe that would give them some time, although the other side of that is if they're traveling back to Manhattan or somewhere, that gives them out of here sooner as well.
And
So-
how often does that really happen?
Do we get much requests from people who are, you know, Daniel or others about the time, or is it so standard that just nobody ever mentions it?
Nobody ever mentions it.
Just
There are
curious.
other towns that do different
Sure.
times, but
I would love to go earlier is what I'm saying.
What about
I
6?
do, I agree, I'd love to have earlier meetings. My only thing with that is, what is it put later, so members of the community
Yep,
were
that
eating
originally,
supper
yes.
maybe around that time, that's the
Yeah.
only thing I
Okay,
can
but-
think
Well,
of.
but if you wanna go to
No,
the
no, I get it,
meeting-
I get it, I get it.
But
That's
how
what I'm
many
saying.
times do we have?
Right,
You
yeah,
know?
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So I'm okay with moving them.
I would say we want to make sure we're thoughtful about it and then only do it once, because I don't know if you've been to businesses that move their hours around a lot. People don't like
Well, let's
consistency.
just-
I don't
we
like
can talk it out, but-
inconsistency.
it does
I
have to
would
be set by
love-
ordinance. It is set by ordinance and it's in code. So
So it would
you'd
have-
have to write an ordinance if you want to do it.
So since I guess we do have a full room tonight of
Yes.
council members, what are council members' thoughts on the time?
Barring my previous comment, she brought up a good point, nobody ever shows up anyway, so, I am happily okay with moving it earlier, it'd be easier for me with what I got going on, so, I mean, I'm okay with moving it earlier, I don't see an issue with it myself.
So what kind of time frame would you suggest?
I'd say you could bump it up an hour, 6.
Yeah.
6, that's what I was
Will that
thinking
work for
too.
you to get back to
5:30 is
town?
probably a little bit early, but yeah.
Especially
Can
if
you
I don't
back
get
to
off
town
work
by
till 5.
6?
Right, right.
Most days, yeah.
Keith, I know sometimes you're on the road, but
Like 6 in the morning.
I
Make-
never know.
Yeah.
Day to day. I never know. Like today it was 5:30, so.
so you.
Couple days last week it was 7 o'clock.
So then it would have
What do you
been
think,
tight
Kevin?
anyway.
What's your thoughts, Kevin?
Doesn't matter to me what we do. 7's always been, 7's fine, like I said, it don't matter to me.
You were on the council before anyone else, Kevin,
It's always
so
been 7,
has it ever been discussed?
no, not that I can think of.
I don't think there's any minutes on it anyway.
Sometimes is the school board at 6, is that correct? Am I mistaken? I think they were an earlier, 6 o'clock, yeah. So, there's precedent in the community for 6 o'clock meetings.
So the way I feel, if I get back at 5:30 or 6 o'clock, I still got enough time to eat supper, shower, change clothes, and be here by 7.
So 7 works better.
Yeah.
People like me
But
that don't
you,
normally
Lori,
eat
I'm
till
thinking
8
of Lori
o'clock.
though.
You know what I mean? Like, like people, by the time I get off and get home, I don't eat till 9 o'clock anyway.
And to be clear, we've generally had, I'd say, pretty clickety-clack meetings.
Yeah,
I like
which have been nice,
meetings that way.
but I was just throwing it out there as an idea.
Yeah.
Well, I'm almost falling asleep on my couch in the 2 hours between sitting down and the meeting.
Well, I was gonna say,
That's what I agree with Kevin. It's something to
everybody
think
chew
about
on
and chew on.
this. We don't need to decide it. We
We don't
can't
have to
decide it
decide
in
right
one
now.
Let's think about it.
Yeah.
But food for thought.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know, maybe people will see this on TV and have strong opinions.
Yes, let
You
us
never know.
know,
They'll
please.
let us know.
Yeah. Okay, anything else, Lori?
No, that's all I got.
Right.
I
Sheree?
don't have anything.
Colleen? Jeff?
I do. Since we brought up the concrete thing.
No.
When was it that we had the special meeting here where we invited the public in, and if you lived out there, for $2,400 a year, we'll put concrete down and fix 11th Road, Keystone, and 12th Road going south?
You were the one
Phrase.
that said the $2,400 a year, and none of us ever.
That's exactly what Carla,
Oh, way back to that, oh,
I
I,
was
yeah,
gonna say,
that's
I thought that-
exactly what it was proposed.
oh my God, that's.
And at the time, so at the time, it was $2.4 million to fix those roads up. There was an option on the table for $900,000 to put a good base down and put asphalt down. We need to get serious about how we're spending our money, and if we keep trying to do, like I say, 1,000 foot, 700 foot here and there, and not getting anywhere, and then wait another 5 years to get nowhere again, we need to be serious about it. Rob Peschel brought up in one of our meetings, he brought up the life cycle cost of asphalt versus concrete was expeditionally
Here's what I'm gonna
Smaller.
tell you. I'm glad to see you're sitting down, because I'm gonna agree with you that this is maybe a place for asphalt. Now, that said, on 12th Road, I don't think the entire thing is a place for asphalt. I think turning trucks, we can agree, there's a reason Don
Well-
doesn't asphalt his parking lot at 50.
well, no, that's totally different.
I'm saying.
Totally different.
I'm saying
You cannot
intersections,
compare.
turning radiuses, heavy truck traffic.
I understand that, but that's never been on the table. It's always been, let's put as much concrete down as we can. And I'm gonna tell you, concrete's great until it goes bad. And once it goes bad, you chase that bad spot
I
forever.
don't know that it's always been the only option on the table, but I would
talked
say
about asphalt.
we have discussed both.
Okay.
And I think a
it's my
hybrid approach is the
turn.
way.
It was my turn to talk and express my opinion.
All right,
And
Jeff.
we honestly left a lot of, we had money at the time to do it. We had the money to pay the debt servicings at the time.
Would've-
But back then, we told everybody, well, if you want a better road, it's your own fault because you decided to live there. I remember that comment. You decided to live there. Well, I still did not decide to not pay my taxes. I still pay my taxes. And my taxes they're not huge, but they're pretty decent size for where we're at. So that's all I have to say, Todd. Hey, Todd, have a good day. No, it's, I think it's Keith's turn.
Last time I checked, Jeff, I'm at the top over here. Okay. So, here's what I'm gonna say. I think you're right. I think that was the initial inclination, and the thing of it is that concrete and asphalt construction don't move in tandem. In concrete, I think at the time, asphalt had come up a lot.
It was,
and they
it
were
was.
much more comparable.
Well,
Now-
no, not at the time. There
Well,
was not then.
But you are correct. I will Monday morning quarterback as good as anyone, and that's that we should have, when money was cheap, gone and done the whole blessed thing. And I agree, if we piecemeal it, we're piecemealing it in such small portions that we're going to be repairing the first section before the last section.
Well, you have to do that now. Yeah.
Which I know. So we need to learn from our mistakes. I know, and Josh isn't here, he's been working on a cost sharing program. I think we have a plan for 11th. We need to get that done. I don't think, we're not gonna re-engineer it. We're not gonna go through that now. But I think 12th Road, we do pretty much the whole blessed thing in one big go. Because you're right, I don't think we can do little chunks anymore. I don't think that works well. I think it frustrates people. Rather than seeing little bits of progress, they see incompleteness. And I think that's fair. And so I think, yes, we do need to learn from our mistakes. Luckily, money's getting cheaper again.
Well, and the
So-
same thing on 12th Road. Go south with it,
Past the end of pavement current.
past the end of pavement.
Would you propose, would you,
Do you think the township's gonna tell you, no, we're not gonna,
so would
we're not
you
gonna let you
annex,
do?
go ahead and just annex the entire?
Whatever's there,
category?
yes, annex it.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
'cause that's what it
hell,
would
the
take.
bean field, or well, right now it's a bean field off to the east, annex 50 foot out, 100 foot out, so if they ever decide to put out homes out there, it's part of the city. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
Cause I mean, it's not gonna, even the people that have some farm ground out there, the city annexes them, yeah, they're gonna get hit on their home.
I'm not sure that we can annex.
No, yes, like Gerald Wassemer's place, you could annex that.
Too many acres.
No, you could, but then their farm property, yeah, isn't gonna be taxed the same, but their house is.
My understanding is that we can't, but that's something maybe our attorney
Well,
can check on, since he's here. The rules regarding property size and
Well,
annexation.
there's 4 other homes out there that could be annexed,
That's true.
easily.
That's true. But the crops on the one side and the,
Yeah, I don't think we can just bite off 50 feet.
Well, but
We're gonna bring that
the
in.
point is, annex the properties that you can and get the roads out there, because we've already invested so much money in that property out there.
You're right, and I've talked to, I would say every week, but I talk to developers pretty regularly who are, hey, do you have anywhere that's shovel-ready?
Mm-hmm.
There's utilities in the ground, and I say we do. Now, I don't know the current developer, what his plans are. But
It's for sale.
I direct everyone to the current developer.
Yeah.
To hopefully kickstart that. But yes, if we can connect it properly, I believe that would add additional value to it. Because like you said, the city, long before, maybe before you were on council, Kevin, where all that was put in out there, the infrastructure in Keystone Edition,
It's not all put in.
well, however much of it that is.
Well, there's probably 20 lots left that are put in.
Yeah, that's put in.
Yeah, and it's set up to put in the rest, so
Yeah.
to me,
Yeah.
why keep having these little developments pop up? Let's get them in there.
And the developers,
One out,
the
yeah.
developers I've talked to, they want to be able to go in and do 10 or 15, or that's where the
they wanna do-
economics
yeah.
make sense. And I don't know currently if we allow duplexes out there, or if that's a zoning issue. That's something where I've been asked about, but I'm like, honestly, if we can get it developed.
It's all part of the covenant, I mean, that can all be
So-
changed, so.
All that
Okay,
to say.
I'm done.
Yes.
Thank you, Todd.
All right,
Have a good night.
thanks, Jeff. Moving on. Keith,
Nothing.
Kevin,
I have nothing this evening.
Chris?
I do have a couple things. Got some calls. So, between Jenkins and May and 10th and 11th, apparently there were some bushes in a yard that got cut down. But in the alley, the bushes overgrew and are now growing in the alley, and I don't know who's responsible for the alleyways.
homeowner.
Okay, but the bushes, I did drive by after I got the call, and the bushes are 3 foot high.
and they're in the alley
alley.
between May and Jenkins,
Yeah,
10th to 11th?
10th and 11th, May and June.
bushes in the alley. Okay. Yeah, it's the homeowner.
Okay. And then, I got another call about someone told me that there's a bakery that just opened on Broadway, like at the old RSVP building.
Yeah.
Yeah, minis.
Is it open now?
I don't know if it's
I don't think
open.
she's.
She's been working
They're
on it.
gonna be,
Yeah.
but they were saying how that maybe could be a conflict with one of the current RFPs, or something.
I
Totally
think,
different kind of business.
yeah,
And I
it's
thought that.
maybe a different kind of bakery, more, I'd say savory, sweets versus savories.
Gotcha.
As a consumer of baked goods, I'm very familiar with the different breads. But I think she did address that as well when she was here. She did mention that she knew that they were opening, kind of.
Oh, she did. I
Kind of,
completely
she kind
missed
of
that.
conversationally had mentioned it, so, and I know both that person and I don't know that necessarily be a conflict, but I'll also say that I think we do better when we have some competition
No,
for things.
100%, yeah.
So I think two Chinese, two Mexican, two whatever, generally that rising tide keeps prices down and keeps quality up.
Sure.
That's my 2 cents,
Yeah.
but good point.
But just
Yeah.
brought up. Then, one more thing. apparently the website that says the Cup of Joe with the city administrator is a different date than what the paper put out.
Wednesday's first and last Wednesday of the month.
But
Wednesday.
apparently he's gonna be gone or
But
something.
we're still having it.
Oh, you're
It's
still having it?
on Wednesday,
Okay.
yep.
All right, perfect.
We're still having it.
I think they were mentioning.
He just
was
won't be
gonna- He just
here.
won't be there. Okay.
That day's a couple with Chris.
Yeah, probably.
Come on down, buddy. We'll let you be in charge.
One last thing, Jeff, I agree with you 100%. Asphalt is the way to go 99% of the time. But on those heavy traffic, my driveway is asphalt, and I just had to rip it all out and put rock in, because I can't afford new asphalt. Because even my little bitty 3/4 ton truck pushed that asphalt clean up, just going around the corner.
No, what I'll say is that's totally different. You put 12-inch base down and put a two-inch lifts on top of it, that's totally different than your driveway. I don't want to get that misconception out there in the public over that comment. I understand, my dad has the same problem at his house, so.
But I do think there are circumstances where concrete is a better option. But paving the whole city in concrete, I'm not for that myself, no. That- So,
All right,
that's all I have.
that's it? All right,
That's
thanks,
it.
Chris. Kyle?
Nothing tonight. No.
Okay, I only had one other thing. It was brought to my attention that the folks who had the holiday craft fair at the Kester House Restaurant last year wanted to do it again, but there's some concern because we are in the RFP process. So my thought was initially, okay, well, that makes sense. But I think they're having difficulty finding anywhere else. And also, I'm a little regretful that we didn't get the apartment in the Kester block rented sooner, because we wrote off some money because we were waiting to see what happened with the RFP process, and I kind of don't want to, I look at things differently because of that. I'm trying to learn from the mistake sort of thing. Is the concern that we are going to be moving on those properties sooner than they would be exiting? Because, I mean, they won't do any damage, and we have the utilities on anyway, correct?
According to the one person with the RFP, she wanted to start immediately. She would send that paperwork in
right.
tomorrow. I don't know, I don't want to thwart what she could do.
Sure, and I wouldn't either.
I mean, otherwise, yeah, if it's gonna sit empty, somebody can be in there, but if we've already given it to somebody, you guys will be making that decision shortly, then we'll know. I don't know where else.
I think you
they
wait
could
till
go.
you make that decision.
I think you have to too.
When would they, I guess the questions would be, I don't know, is, Wayne, have you talked to these people? Do you know when they would want in and want out? Because that's important.
November 14th through December 22nd.
Okay, so I guess, yeah, if they probably can find somewhere else, that's maybe optimal, but if we're paying utilities on it and we find out between now and they still don't have a home,
Well, the utilities we paid when they were there didn't cover the cost that they paid us.
but it's a net good, because hopefully it brings people to town.
I would agree, but it did not cover.
There's just somebody that wants to rent it?
Yeah, they had like I don't know,
It's crafters, right?
Crafters.
Bring in their crafts for
is
Christmas.
there a point person that organizes the whole thing? Who is the point person?
Norris Fabrication.
Okay.
Do you foresee our decision not being made before the middle of October? I would think that we would
do.
make our
I just-
decision.
I'm reticent to say absolutely no, but I agree that maybe we can't make a decision at this point, but we could keep it in mind.
Yeah.
Because
I
I
agree.
do hope they set up. I do think it's good. And maybe, I don't know if we can assist in any way with a secondary location.
What about that green lot that we have, Bill, and there's electricity there?
I think
too?
they probably want indoors.
Indoors, yeah.
Yeah. So,
They're open from like 9 AM to 5 or 6 or,
7. It was
yeah.
7 last year.
and
Well,
I
close
mean,
to.
there's other places that, like, I mean, the depot would make sense, except for they don't have the heat set up yet. They're working on that project. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, brainstorm ideas, and like Wayne, I guess if you're in contact with them, and I guess hopefully we can come up with some somewhere to help them out, I think it would be
So they need
great.
about a month's worth of space but they need to like live there too?
No. They just take turns, whoever's gonna be selling this stuff, it's like 10 different people bring their stuff in.
And then they
It's
have,
just a consignment.
they have
like a little
a couple of
shop.
people running it every day. Out of those 10 people, they take turns running it.
So they just need a place for the store.
Like, for their
Yeah.
craft fair.
I think there's plenty of other options for them between the armory and different places that I think we just need to make our decision and do our,
Okay, well, and that's just fine, and so, continuing on with that, I hope everyone is still deliberating on the RFP opportunities that were presented to us. Hopefully, by next meeting, we can have some formulated thoughts and opinions. You may already have some, but, please talk to community members and, I guess.
Who still
ruminate.
owns the building catty corner across the street from the dam center?
Southwestern Bell.
AT&T,
Is that, it's
They
not being
called
used for
me-
anything.
Yeah,
They
it's-
called me today for a phone number for that building, they're trying, but they're out of Ohio.
my understanding is
They're very
that from
difficult
somebody
to
who had
talk
gotten a hold of them before was that for cybersecurity reasons, they did not want to
And I
allow
think that
anyone
is
into
true.
the building.
Yeah,
It's just sad, if you look in the windows, there's like a server that would fit in my closet, and that's the whole building.
well, but I think that's what the banks all go through that
It is.
Just like
server.
cell
It is
I think that's about it.
it's very secure.
It shows the change in technology
Yeah,
that,
just like cell phones, they're not this big.
I remember as a little girl when it asked where you went and paid your bill, your phone bill.
I remember when
It
they
was
had,
all deaths.
when they had, switchboard in there.
okay, I didn't have anything else. Anybody?
Adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned. I'll swing in tomorrow, late morning, and for autographing, that usually works pretty well on Tuesdays.
Shut this off and then I wanna talk to them.
This is what I ever said. For me, like when I.
We'll do a week. Oh,
How can I beat up mid? That's crazy.
I don't know.